Well, UEFA Champions League group stages are coming to an end on Wednesday, and all games are going to be played at the same time because it's really going to be a heated battle for those teams that are really ready to get into the quarterfinals straight and those that are set to play into what we call the playoffs of this. When you look at Arsenal, they are placed third onto this table of there are how many teams? Of 36 teams, right? And Arsenal has found themselves in a position of really having played 7 games, won 5, drawn 1, lost 1, right? And they've scored 14 goals, conceded only 2, and they have a goal difference of 12. They're having 16 points. And as it stands, Arsenal only needs to really draw when they're playing against Girona. The team they're really playing against, Girona, is where is Girona? Girona is 31st, and they're really having 3 points. They've played 7 games. I think they've won 1, they've drawn 0, and they've lost 6 games, meaning that it's a side that Arsenal has to beat. And remember, Arsenal comes to this game of football when they have to obviously look to their game they're going to be playing over the weekend as they host the side known as Man City. That is a very huge game because if City beats Arsenal, it's going to be 3 points behind Arsenal. If Arsenal beats City, Arsenal will go 9 points ahead of that side. So as everything pans out, Arsenal is doing the needful to either obviously get to Spain and obviously get in the points. When you look at the injured players for the club of Arsenal, Mikel Merino is having a back injury, and Jesus ACL injury, Bukayo Saka hamstring injury, Takahiro Tomiyasu knee injury, and Ben White is having a knee injury. But Odegaard, when I was really looking through the photos of Arsenal players training, by the way, today ahead of this game, I've gone ahead to see Martin Odegaard training really thick, and I was like, all right, he's really great. Mikel Merino was also part of the training session for the club of Arsenal, and so they are part of the squad that is really going to be traveling to the side of Girona, and they're already in Girona, Spain, and obviously the squad is really heated up. Obviously, those 2 players that missed out on the game of Wolverhampton Wanderers over the weekend, that is Mikel Merino and Odegaard are back into the training session, and you're waiting for the likes of Ben White and Takahiro Tomiyasu to see whether they'll be available for the next set of games that Arsenal is set to play. So tomorrow morning, I'll bring you all what you need to know about how Arsenal players trained ahead of this game of football. They're going to be taking on Girona. You understand? So that's exactly what you're really going to be looking at. And now, when we go to Girona, which players are really out? They're telling us that as for Girona, Michael will have to contend without the services of Tottenham Hotspur attacker Gary Gill, who serves a European 1-game ban. Then Daley Blind, he's also another one that is obviously going to be missing out. And Paul Gazzaniga, he went ahead to leave the pitch where they're playing Rayo Vallecano. And then Michael immediately more optimistic about Gazzaniga's chances of really making it this week. But Miguel Gutierrez is having an ankle injury, that left back that is really very swift. And Kajic is having a groin injury in there. So those are the injuries of the side of Girona. When you look at Girona, over the weekend, they went ahead to obviously play. Which side did they play? Let's be really exact. Girona went ahead to obviously play over the weekend, and they lost to Rayo Vallecano by 2-1. That is really unforgivable for this side. So we are here to wait and see how that pans out. And Arsenal went ahead to beat Wolverhampton Wanderers by 1 goal to nil, scored by Ricardo Carafiori. Now, as it stands, let's get into the probable starting 11 for the club of Arsenal as we get into this beautiful game of football that is going to be played at the Estadi Montilivi Stadium that capacitates 14,624. And this is the team that was on top of the Liga table for the lion's share of last season, but they couldn't obviously maintain it to win it, and they've gone hit to lose some players, and they couldn't obviously match the levels they are really playing at, because even in the La Liga, when you look at the table, they're not really doing well, because Girona is 8th, 28 games, they're having 28 points. So going back to the Champions League, they have to really win very many games, because they are 12 points off Atletico Bilbao that are really placed 4th. Atletico Bilbao is the team that really has a player known as Nico Williams. You understand? So we are waiting to see how that happens. But let's get into the probable starting 11 for the side of Arsenal. The system is 4-3-3, and in goal, it's obviously going to be David Raya, though there are those that are like Neto might come in through, but I don't think that the manager will obviously try to reduce the strength of his team to that level. Then right back, I think it's going to be all about Julian Timber or Thomas Partey. That is it. Left back, I think it's going to be none other than Lewis Skelly. You know, he never played full 90 minutes. I think the manager will try to share the minutes in between Lewis Skelly and Ricardo Carafiori. Lewis Skelly play like 60. Ricardo Carafiori can play 30. Get in that much fitness and get ready for the game of Manchester City. In the central defense, right-sided centre-back, obviously it's none other than William Saliba, and left-sided centre-back, it's a change that I believe the manager will make, and I think Jakub Kiwior will have to play part into this encounter for the club of Arsenal, because you need Gabriel Magalhaes in the game where you're going to be playing against Man City. So no reason to risk him in such a game of this magnitude, where you only need a draw and this guy can serve the purpose. It's better to rest Gabriel Magalhaes or Saliba, one of the two, in this game of football, and see to it that all goes on well, as the manager needs it to be in the game of Man City. CDM, this is where I call in for Jorginho to obviously play as a CDM into that game. And I think I can rest Partey, you know, to be 100% fit and fresh for the game of Man City. Then Declan Rice, obviously, to play in that midfield alongside Jorginho. And then I anticipate that a player called Waneri will obviously play into that midfield in that position of Martin Odegaard. And I don't see him play the entire 90 minutes, but I really understand that Martin Odegaard will obviously come in through as a substitute. But I won't be shocked if at all Martin Odegaard comes in through and starts for the club of Arsenal in this encounter, because the manager might want to obviously get some minutes for him to obviously start play like 60 minutes and take him off and see to it that he gets prepared for the game of City as he's supposed to do the needful. And this game of football is really going to be important for every Arsenal player, especially those that play into the forward positions, because the manager will obviously try to see to it that Odegaard creates and all other players score goals to obviously build momentum ahead of that game of City. You understand? And they'll have to rest their players. Then on the right forward, I think it's going to be Sterling to start onto that side. Left forward, I see Gabriel Martinelli giving it a go. And who is leading the line? I think Leandro Trossard might be played as a false number 9, because Kai Havertz will be needed more in the game of City than this game, as in the game of Wolverhampton Wanderers we saw Kai Havertz limping off the pitch, I think, when the referee blew the last whistle. So I think that is the probable starting 11 for the club of Arsenal. And when you look at it, it's like I'm seeing Kai Havertz, Partey, Gabriel Magalhaes, Ricardo Carafiori, all rested, Odegaard, close to 5 players rested for the game of City. And I think that's what the manager is supposed to do, to see to it that he really keeps his players fit and ready to go for this encounter of City. Why should he really focus more on the side of City? The reason is simple. When you look at Man City, they are a side that if they beat Arsenal and Liverpool wins, Liverpool will be 9 points of Arsenal. Arsenal has to come into this game of football when they already know the result of Liverpool. You understand? So it's really very important for Arsenal to put in a shift, and they should prepare, because even if they lose here, they have a chance to go into the knockout stages, but they only need a draw. And I know this team can obviously draw against the side of Girona. So I think Arsenal need what we call a win or a draw, and they prepare for the side of City. Now, Girona is expected to have Lopez, Martinez, Joan Pen, Frances, Romeo, Herrera, Skinov, Donny van de Beek, Danjuma, and Rose. So that's how we anticipate the side of Arsenal is obviously gonna be looking like into this encounter. And I think before I really give you my match prediction, allow me throw you into this. First and foremost, these are the head-to-head stats coming in from Google. One reads that Girona will face Arsenal for the very first time, the Spaniards' most recent home game in the UEFA Champions League. Also come against an English opponent, losing 1-0 to Liverpool, on match day 6. But I think Arsenal won't really have to suffer a lot because they are a team who is really going to be playing to get a draw. But Liverpool came in here to get a win, and they've gone ahead to face the first English side in the tournament, and it beat them by 1-0. Secondly, Arsenal won their most recent away game against Spanish opposition in the UEFA Champions League, Sevilla 2-1 in October 2023, last winning back-to-back such games in the competition in February 2004 and February 2006 versus Celta Vigo and Real Madrid. So, Girona have lost each of their last 4 UEFA Champions League games, failing to score a single goal along the way. No team from one of Europe's big leagues has ever lost 5 in a row without scoring before. So they might be on target tomorrow, but I don't see them really making it hard for Arsenal. Fourthly, after 4 consecutive away UEFA Champions League games without a goal, Arsenal won 5-1 against Sporting Lisbon on match day 5. They last won consecutive away games in the competition in November to December 2016. Lastly, Arsenal have conceded just 2 goals in the UEFA Champions League this season, shipping a penalty goal against International and from a corner against Sporting CP. They are one of the 2 teams, along with Inter Milan, yet to concede from open play in this season's competition. So, Arsenal hasn't gone ahead to concede a goal from open play. You understand? They haven't gone ahead to concede a goal from open play. All the goals have come through from a set piece and a penalty. So it shows you how Arsenal are really good at defending into the Champions League. Now, you are like, Rokani, what's your prediction? 3-0 for the club of Arsenal. 3-0 for the club of Arsenal. That's my prediction for this encounter, that Girona is going to be hosting Arsenal. I don't know what your thoughts are about this, but I think the focus should be so much on the Man City game. That's why I would even fancy the manager to obviously bench more players if at all he feels like he needs them for the game of City, as it's a do-or-die game for the club of Arsenal over the weekend. It's going to be played on Sunday, and Liverpool is away. Liverpool is away playing PSV, and for Man City, it's a must-win, and they have to obviously keep their eyes on other results that teams are really close into them, because Man City is really having a very bad end of this group stage, because they are 25th. Now they have to look at Stuttgart, Sporting Lisbon, PSG, Benfica. And they should pray to it that one of these teams doesn't win. Because if it wins, if all these teams win, Man City will be out. And they won't even go to the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Rokani David remains my name. That's what I had for you. Who do you get in and who do you get out of that probable starting 11? That's what my mind has told me. Will I read the mind of Mikel Arteta? All that and more into the comment section below. Rokani David signs out for now. Bye-bye. And a 5-finger salute. Continue to subscribe to our channel.